Welcome back to the Push Pace Podcast, a podcast where we talk about anything and everything related to pushing ourselves towards a better and happier us. And in this week's episode, I sit down and have a chat with Ariana Travelstead, a fellow fitness coach and someone who is just so unbelievably passionate about what she does in helping to change lives for the better. And we sit down and have a chat about how your occupation can have a potential effect on your fitness journey, what that means for you if you sit a lot for work or you're on your feet all the time at work. And we sort of bring in our own sort of personal stories along with that, as well as have some laughs and some good stories and tips to, again, help guide us towards getting a little bit more out of our workouts, getting more out of our recovery, and helping us stay on track towards our fitness goals. So it's a bit of a longer episode this time. I hope you enjoy the chat. As always, please let me know what you think. Please leave a review for the podcast if you haven't already. I just want to make this as great of a podcast as possible for all of us. So let me know what you think and enjoy the episode. Here we go. Well, Ariana, it's great to have you on the podcast. How about you take a moment or a few minutes to talk about who you are, what you do, and sort of why we're here to talk today?
Sure, I'm excited. So first of all, thank you for having me on. And my name is Ariana Travelstead. That is one of the questions I get all the time is, how do you pronounce your name? And I usually just tell people it's however it comes out of your mouth because everyone has a different accent. So I answer to everything.
You're so open-minded. That's great.
I try.
Some people get really offended by not having their name said right, which is crazy because how are you supposed to know? Well, especially when English is such a crazy language, you know?
I know. Like you have Andrea or Andrea, things like that. Well, you know how it goes at Orange Theory. So I don't care. I'll answer to anything.
So you're an Orange Theory coach.
I am an Orange Theory coach. I coach in Odessa, Texas, which is, for some of you guys who aren't familiar, Midland, Odessa, Texas is in an area called the Permian Basin, about 5 hours west of Dallas. So it is in the middle of nowhere. And
wow.
It is very remote. The closest city is, there's Dallas, Austin. They're both about 5 hours away. Lubbock is north of here where Texas Tech is. That's like a big state university. And so when I came out here, I knew I wanted to change my career. So a little bit about me, I'm from New Jersey originally, and I went to school in Rochester, New York at RIT, Rochester Institute of Technology.
Oh, wow. I rode with someone from RIT.
No way, we have a big crew team there.
Yeah, so. I know it's a big program. That's what I hear.
That's awesome. I am 5'4", so it was just not in the cards for me.
Wait, are you serious? That's so interesting because, you know, you can't really tell from photos like how tall people are. I had no idea you were 5'4". I would think at least 5'7".
People think I'm so much taller.
In photos, I guess.
Yeah. So that's nice. But yeah, I'm really short. I mean, some people who are 5 foot are like, hey, like you're not short, calm down. But so yeah, I had a lot of friends on the crew team up there. It was a very athletic school, even though we didn't have football. Like I didn't know what a tailgate was until I moved to Texas 5 years ago. And we had a big hockey team, and we had like cycling was really big, rock climbing was really big because there was nothing to do while it snowed. So we had a barn with rock climbing indoors.
Wow.
So I grew up playing softball since I was like 7 years old, and I've been like lifting in the gym since I was 13 probably. So like I have a big foundation under me, which I try to explain to people a lot. It's like, that's why I know how to put exercises together in my head, or I know my way around the gym, is because I've been through it for a really long time. So you always have to give yourself grace when you're just starting out, right?
Totally.
So I studied graphic design and industrial design, and then I was a packaging engineer after college for almost 7 years, which is basically like product conception to production, manufacturing, testing products for materials and making sure they're all good with the product and the packaging. It's a fun job, but I also did fitness on the side, and that's just where my passion was. So my husband got transferred out here almost 2 years ago, and I had to quit my corporate life, and I decided I wanted to just go for full-time being a fitness professional. Sorry, that's a really long way of getting to where we are now.
No, that's great. And I think, just hearing that, that's a huge deal. That's, I mean, I think a big thing that cripples a lot of people these days is that fear of stepping away from, the comfort of the job that you had. Like, I'm sure you had plenty of good benefits and I'm sure nice steady pay, a lot different than sort of the fitness world. Not to say that the fitness world isn't like, can't be like that, but it's a little bit different. And to take that leap, like that's scary. You pushed yourself like out of that comfort zone for sure.
Absolutely. I wrote a blog post about it when I left, and it was very, very scary. And yeah, I had great benefits, I had great pay. And when I was younger in my 20s, that was just so important to me, was like this big old salary. And then what did I use it
It's
for? Like pay off
plaguing.
that student debt.
Yeah, the idea of like getting really like settled and stable like right out of school, that's still a big like concern for a lot of people these days, when we kind of forget how much life we have to really figure things out. But we all kind of fall into that trap initially. Or like, I won't say it's a trap, but like we get in that mindset that everything's got to be stable, it's got to be perfect, because everyone
Yeah,
expects
yeah.
us to have it all figured out.
I think that's changing for sure. Like the story's changing. I think the way that we even educate is changing, which I'm excited about. For if I have kids, I'd love to educate them in a non-traditional way. Um, there's so much exciting stuff that's coming out there in terms of like gap year. And so that's kind of what we're talking about today, is like occupation and how much can your career affect not only your weight, but your fitness and your overall health and living those long years that we're talking about.
Totally. And you think we sometimes, as fitness professionals and just in the fitness world, a lot of us, we're very consumed with getting people to work out and eat right, but sometimes not even taking into consideration what everyone is doing for a living, and how that really does impact the journey, because it does. And it works both ways too, which is really interesting. Obviously people that are sitting more, that's going to have different effects, compared to maybe something like what we do, which is an extremely active, like jumping around, like nonstop go-go, or like a contractor who's picking up heavy stuff all day. It has a big wide spectrum, and it's definitely something to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. So I just started thinking about it, a couple of weeks ago, of how, because people have been telling me for the past like 6 months that my body's changed, and everyone, their first thing that they tell me is like, you've lost so much weight, but my weight's literally stayed the same. And like I've listened to some of your podcasts in the past couple of weeks about talking about the difference in like body composition and that first month of seeing results and all of that. So it's just educating people on how your body composition can change, but your weight can stay the same.
Yeah, and we're very obsessed with the scale. The scale is, I like to get all mathy and physicsy on people, and I say like your weight is just your mass times the force of the gravitational pull on Earth. And if you want to
And
weigh
that's what you
less,
want to
go to
hear,
the
right?
moon. You'll weigh less on the moon. Doesn't change anything.
Let's just move to the moon.
Move to the moon, then you weigh less. Mission accomplished or not.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. But that is like one of the biggest struggles, like as a personal trainer, as an Orange Theory coach, is that people their first thing is always like, well, sometimes it's a number, or sometimes it's like, I just want to lose weight, or I just want to lose the last 5 pounds. And it's like, is that really going to make you happy? Or is there a deeper goal that you're trying to reach?
Yeah. And that's ultimately like the goal of us is to help us find that our like joining something like Orange Theory or finding yourself on your fitness path is about setting yourself up for the rest of your life, because this is not
Right.
just something that you just do and then stop. You got to do it for the rest of your life, but you definitely have to do it and incorporate it with your lifestyle. And I kind of want to touch just for a moment on like how, for me personally, I think I'm a bit on the opposite end of the spectrum from what a lot of things that I hear from members, and I think a lot of, with being overweight, a very common issue people have. A lot of people don't like to hear about my problems of not being able to keep on weight as far as like having a
Yeah.
certain goal of keeping a certain amount of muscularity. And because our job, like on these days where I'm sure you've had days where you've coached over like 6 classes in a row, or, probably maybe even more than that, or however it might be, when we're going these back-to-back classes, no rest. I mean, sometimes there's not even like breaks to like snack on things, if you have new guests between classes, they all kind of string together. It gets wild and crazy. And of course, we're expected not to just prescribe these workouts, but to be the motivator, we got to be mentally on it, looking at people, and
Yes.
you know how it is. It's
Always.
crazy. And and it's interesting the difference that makes in a few different things. First off, it makes it harder for a guy like me to maintain weight because it's more calories burned throughout the day, just
Hmm.
a ton more than compared to my days off where I'm doing a lot of editing because I do a
Right.
lot of YouTube stuff, a lot of Instagram stuff. And it's interesting how on those days that I'm off, I can definitely feel that I don't need to eat as much, not even close. But the energy trade-off is really interesting because even though I've just been sitting all day, I'm feeling quite a bit more like lethargic and
Hmm.
slow than on these days when you're very active with your work. And I think that just kind of it's an important thing to think about. Like just movement in general is something that humans like we need just to stay like feel normal, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. And I think like I'm just so glad that I found your page because I feel like we have a lot of similar values and beliefs in terms of like fitness journey of um like I can relate to trying to keep on weight while I was training for my triathlon this summer. It's something I don't do every year because it's just so time consuming and then energy consuming, like especially while you're coaching, trying to eat all of your calories was like
It's crazy.
exhausting and I was so ready for it to be done because I literally couldn't even keep up with my calorie intake. I was just burning it all.
Well, I'm sure with triathlon training too, I mean, I'm sure some of your bike rides were like 2, 3, 4 hours long, and then because with something like cycling, you just keep going and going and going, and everyone that trains for those events to perform, you got to put in a lot of hours, and it's primarily high cardiovascular work. You're just you're burning calories all day plus work. It's wild.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I wish I could say my bike rides were that long. I won't give myself that much credit.
Okay.
It was a sprint, so thankfully, like usually an hour, maybe an hour and a half. But
Okay.
regardless, sometimes you are doing 2, 3 workouts a day on top of coaching. So it is, though, I want to bring back to that point of moving your body. And that's another thing that's super important to my brand is that I love to tell people like you need to find what works for you. And if you do have a desk job, like how can you live a life that's not super sedentary, um, even though you're sitting at a desk most of the day, like finding creative ways to either get a lunch workout in, which is like what we used to do at my job. We had a little crew that went to our gym almost every day for lunch, and I had to make sacrifices, but that was how I had to keep myself active. And you have to find ways of keeping yourself busy, but something that you're going to enjoy. You should never force yourself into running because you think you should be a runner to lose weight.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm known a lot for like the rowing content that I produce, and rowing drags in a lot of initial attention from people because of the headline grab of it's the highest calorie burning, piece of exercise equipment. It works 84% of the muscles in your body. Then it's got to be the best, the only thing you can do for weight loss, or like the best thing to do. Whereas, and then people sit on a rowing machine, and if they're not having like a guided, program or workout, or, I try to make like interesting things for people to do. But if you don't know what you're doing, you just sit on it. All of a sudden, 10 minutes rowing straight feels like an hour. People are like, this is boring, this sucks. And then they just stop exercising. Because if it's not the best, if it's not the highest calorie burning exercise, then what are you doing? When I think you bring up a great point that it has to be something that you enjoy doing. And I think that's why Orange Theory has really been really successful for so many people. It's just fun. It's fun,
Hmm.
variety,
Yeah,
and
so fun. My members hate when I'm like, guys, we have a really fun workout for you today because I'm very enthusiastic. They're like, Ariana's definition of fun means that it's going to be really difficult.
yes, I want to talk about that a little bit. I haven't talked a
Sure.
lot about this with other people, but it's interesting because a lot of people like will. like that reaction that you get of this is fun, but people see it as like quote unquote torture or
Right.
dying, um and it's I know there's like a level of playfulness with that term, like it's kind of joking, but I think really reshaping fitness and exercise towards the mindset of this is only doing you good. Like this, like and just the good that it's doing for you is not just, you're not up there dying on the treadmill without purpose. This is torture is something without purpose to make you suffer. This is not to make you suffer. It's the mental and like personal confidence you gain other than just like the physical, gains that you make from it. Like I really try to help reshape people's mind towards the absolute positive experience that exercise and fitness really is. So it kind of gets me annoyed when people are like, what are you gonna torture with us today? It's like, well, I'm really actually Karen trying to help you. I'm really
Right.
trying,
I love that point. Like people come in and I'm like, you're here and you signed up for this class. And when people walk in the door, I'm like, all right, guys, they give me their fist pump and I'll say, all right, you're here, you're committed, you're not leaving. Like you're signed up for this hour. And some people I'll say, why did you come today? And they're like, because you made me. I'm like, I am not making you do
no,
anything. But today's class is an amazing opportunity to kind of highlight on some of those things that you were just talking about, of just like how much the magic happens after the workout and how much they're going to benefit from today's workout. Like it was so fun to coach. And I think you really do have to have a motivating, positive outlook to be a successful coach.
totally. Now, okay, so let's talk a little bit about again, sort of with the occupational thing with as a trainer. I've got my own little tips and strategies that I use to like keep basically what do you do as a coach when you have a bunch of classes, 3 or 4 classes back to back, new guests between each, like and you just get no breaks. What are your like go-to strategies for anyone out there that has this sort of busy nonstop like lifestyle sometimes? Like what are your strategies to help people, let's say get in snacks or just keep head above water when it comes to this?
That's a good question. So, like, I always have water with me, always. My Yeti is like 32 ounces stays with me because, as you know, like your throat gets really dry. So I am constantly sipping on water throughout class, and I have cough drops, and I do honey with lemon and water in the morning, hot water to just keep my vocal cords good to go. That's my biggest recommendation is just always be hydrated. Especially if you're an active professional like a trainer, you can get dizzy or dehydrated really easily throughout the day. So number one tip is hydration. And then I try to meal prep in the beginning of the week, at least a few meals so that I can just pop them right in the microwave and have them ready to go. It's a lifesaver. I mean, I hate cleaning the kitchen. So if I only have to do it once or twice throughout the week, then that saves me more time and I have 20 more minutes to go work out or film a video or edit a video.
Nice. Um, have you tried cloves before? Have you tried whole cloves in your hot water before?
Okay, no, but someone was asking about this in our lobby this morning and I go, cloves, like the ones in the black cigarettes? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
No.
so they're like little tiny like they come in like a big bag or whatever, but they're like
Mhm.
little spiked maces almost. Like they have like a little ball on it and a little stick and little it's a spice. It's not ground, but it's in the whole clove form. I was recommended that as something to incorporate into tea or hot water to help with keeping your vocal cords okay. And it's been a lifesaver. Like, I mean, and so
Really?
now it's all like for teachers, for, trainers like us, it's awesome. And it's got a nice little spice flavor to it
Hmm.
too. You got to give it a try. It's a little like, I'm not going to say it's like crazy pricey. It's not like dirt cheap or anything, but adding in like a few cloves with your hot water, like I would say give it a try. I think you really like it.
Cool. I'm definitely gonna do that. Um, I think it all comes down to discipline and pre preparation, making sure that like,
But Ariana, I'm too tired. I've been working all day long. I've got kids at home. I don't have any time to myself. I hardly have time to work out. So what am I supposed to do?
That's a tough one, and a lot of people face that. I love the devil's advocate. Um, you really have to think about what are your priorities, and in the moment of a week or a day where you might seem really stressed out, you have to think about your long-term goals. And if you have kids at home that you want to stay healthy for a really long time, then you need to set aside 20 minutes here, set a timer, get one task done, and set another timer here. Maybe you have an hour to do some cooking, whether that's on a Thursday night or a Sunday night. Like, I am all about rolling with what works for you. Like, I am not the type of person who is very regimented, believe it or not. I never have the same week ever. Like, as a trainer, I think, like, you have to fit it in wherever it gets done, or wherever you can get it fit in. There's like just not enough time in the day, and everyone's always like, well, this season's just really busy, or it's a really busy time at work, or it's the holidays, and like, life's never going to slow down. It's only going to get more complicated. Usually as you get older, you have more responsibilities and you have more things to do, or more people in your life to care for. So rolling with the punches and being okay with more spontaneity, I think a lot of people could embrace that concept and be okay with, okay, I don't just have to start on Monday. If I miss a day, my whole week is ruined. Or I ate a French fry. Oh my gosh.
Oh no. I totally agree, and I like what you just said there about like not having to start on Monday. And I think a lot of the time too, we have this like all or nothing mindset sometimes of like, if it's not perfect, then like why bother? When in reality, like, we all know that life is not perfect. Every day is not the same day. Situations arise. But I think there is something to say about, like, at least for me, this is what I've always like, there's something that feels really good about pushing through like adversity and like the tough times where it's like, yeah, it's going to be tough to make this meal right now because I don't want to. But if I do it and it's there, like that satisfaction being like, I did it. I did it when I said I really didn't want to. And I think that's just, and same with like a hard when on the treadmill, a hard, you're going through the pushes and bases and you're dying, but like, it's going to come to the end, and if you push through that, like that ultimate satisfaction. And so I think it just comes from trusting in the process, being okay with things not being perfect, and just taking it one day at a time, because every day the sun comes up and you get to try again. That's like one of my favorite sayings ever, because it's so true. Like, we can't change the past. All we can do is pave each moment forward the best that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I have a question for you, being a coach and having your own projects on the side. Like, how do you, because this happens to a lot of trainers, I think, is we focus so much on everyone else, and it's hard to get our own fitness and recovery in. So are you a regimented person? Do you work out at the same time every day, or how does that work for you?
So this is a great question, actually. So in this, I guess I can share a couple of things that I've got like going on that I've been keeping a little hush, but it's starting to come into fruition. So at least my general routine for the most part goes back to the idea that as someone who's 100% vegan, I eat close to 5,000 calories a day on average with coaching, which I don't do every day. But with all of that, I no longer have like specific, like, okay, I'm going to go out on like, I'm going to do cardio for 30 minutes, because of all the jumping and running around that we do as coaches. For me, like, I know that movement is doing a lot for me. I do that plus an addition, like I just do one singular Orange Theory class per week. I always go Tuesday night. So that is my regular Orange Theory. Other than that, I do strict weightlifting 3 times a week. And what's interesting is my workouts for those strength training days are very low volume, but high intensity. And the reason why they're so low volume, like, I'm talking like 4 or 5 exercises, 3 sets each. Like, I'm not doing so, and that kind of varies on the day. Like, I'll do like a 6 to 8 day, a 12 to 15, and a 10 to 12. Those are like the main ones I work with. But I try not to do like 4 or 5 sets of a bunch of exercises. I'm usually not in the gym for longer than like 50 minutes, because I think there's a ratio of doing too much weight training with too much active job into the point where you start to be a little bit more catabolic than anabolic. And for me personally, like as my own fitness goals, I'm not training for any competition or anything like that. I just I like to fill out my frame a little bit as someone who's 6'8", like it's just something that's kind of hard to do. And so I'm not looking to be the strongest guy or the fastest guy, but to maintain my fitness and fill out my frame with a little bit of strength and muscle mass is sort of my current goal right now. However, things are changing a little bit because in the next couple of weeks, I'm actually releasing an app, an
I
online
heard
platform.
that you're working on that. That's
Yes.
so exciting.
And
So
so
exciting. I'm
it's
working on the backgrounds of mine.
oh, cool. Nice. Yeah, so they're on demand training workouts with me. Like they're literally follow along, like 20
Cool.
minute, 30 minute, 10 minute, and it's designed what gave the inspiration behind it is people always asking what they do on their off days from Orange Theory. They're always looking for something to do. And so with this program, essentially it's a collection of workouts that give you different focus areas on, let's say you want to do more upper body strength, or maybe your legs are so sore you need a lower body mobility and flexibility workout, or maybe you like to do rowing workouts. So it's a big collection of those. And
Hmm.
so my plan with that is I've got like over 25 workouts that are going to be launching with the platform, but I'm going to be adding on an additional 2 workouts each week. So that's part of like the subscription base of it, is that you're going to be getting more workouts every single week. So it's going to be ever growing. So now I'm doing the workouts for the camera, but I'm really doing them. And I feel like that's the thing that a lot of like fitness online demand things don't do. They're just kind of like, okay, let's go, let's do it together. And
Yes. Yeah.
like
With like
I
2 pound
I'm
dumbbells.
basically doing it with, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm doing it like legit on camera, going through like the process of like setting up for a set of exercises, and like trying to give basically the coaching style and motivation that I try to give during my Orange Theory classes, but you're literally working out with me.
That's
So
awesome.
that's the idea. So that's coming out really soon. It's been a huge project. That's why I'm
Yes.
like my YouTube
No.
content, I haven't been putting out a lot of stuff there. I'm still trying to stay on it with daily Instagram videos. It just gets to be a lot. But now that I'm incorporating those workouts into that program, I have to kind of change around my own like personal training fitness goals a little bit. So it's not going to be very regimented, other than probably Tuesday night Orange Theory. Other than
Yeah.
that, couple strength training days, we'll see. But
Yeah.
as long as, again, with the idea of bodies
Moving.
moving though, on days where I'm sitting all day editing, you know what? I think walks are really underrated.
Hmm.
Walks are amazing. They're
Yeah.
amazing. They're
Walking is a
so
great
nice.
tool for fat loss. I mean, tons of intermittent fasting. People use that as their cardio in the morning, like while they're fasting.
And especially like in these winter times, you know, I think the statistic is close to like 80% of people are vitamin D deficient. And,
Hmm.
our primary source of vitamin D comes from the sunlight that we get outside. And so when we get all cooped up or just don't have that outside exposure, we're missing out on a key hormone in our body. And there's something that just feels really good about getting outside, getting a little bit in touch with just the smells of some trees, and seeing people walk around and just being outside and breathing air that's not inside a conditioned home.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's another way, like if you do have a desk job, that's so important, is like walking either in the morning or after work. Like just do it. Just do it. Because even if it's 15 minutes, it's helping.
And you don't and now with like podcasts and with YouTube, and like there's some things you can be doing that, so a lot of people think that walking is a waste of time, but there's a lot of productive things you can do while you're walking.
Yeah, absolutely. Like listen to this podcast.
Yeah, right. Hopefully this
Shameless plug.
inspires people to go out on a walk. I hope that.
Yes, awesome. Well, I'm so excited for your platform, and I definitely understand like when you're doing all these projects, that is the time where you do expend a whole lot of calories. One of my old fitness instruction jobs was doing the workout in front of the class, and it is a whole another level of shape that you have to be in to be able to talk to the camera and to do the workouts at the same time, like at that level, and inspire people. Like, do you take breaks and you're like, Guys, this is hard.
Oh, that's the thing, and that's kind of what I'm trying to promote with it is because yeah, there's lots of different like follow along platforms online, but you know you're gonna be working out with me, and you're gonna get the stupid sayings that I say on camera all the time, and yeah, like just in that realism of like yeah, this is hard, but let's do this together, let's do it, you know, things like that.
Good. That's exciting. Well, I can't wait to see it. I'm super excited. I just bought your rowing plan when you did the Black Friday sale, so I'm excited to use that as some supplemental workouts for
Oh,
myself
you're
as
so
well.
sweet. That means a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I used like you and Dave's cueing and a couple of different strategies that you guys were talking about on the last podcast you did together. I used some of those in class today and like physically like held some members' feet down like heels on the foot plates because no matter how many times I say it in class on power days, they still won't do it. And so
Oh, it's
today
wild. Yeah, I know what you mean.
it's crazy. It's crazy then when you try to educate between cardio endurance day and power day on the rower. And I like held some people down, their feet down, and I was watching their wattage grow. And I'm like, watch your wattage. And we were just counting it together. And it was so awesome. Like so many tips from you guys. And I love it. It's making me appreciate and love rowing so much more.
You know what I really love right now? I love
What?
how passionate you sound because I feel that. Like it's getting me hyped. It's like it's
Awesome.
I can tell that you really, really love what you do and that you're like you genuinely do care to help others, which I think is, you know, because a lot of people can be coaches and be poop heads and not care, and you care, which is just awesome. Now,
Oh.
question though, this kind of I want to another thing about let's say that you sit a lot for work.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on like, okay, I do a lot of sitting, but what if my exercise is the sitting exercises like cycling and rowing?
Oh, that is a really good one because since I do a lot of that, I have a Peloton at home, which I absolutely love. I do a lot of mobility work. So it's really important to do a dynamic warm up before any of your classes. I'm sure it's like 95% of people don't do it. I know that I've seen you promote it. Like I recently put a video out on Black Friday and was like, hey guys, if you're traveling, like I have an 8-minute follow along. You can do this with me. So recovery is going to be really important. So if you're sitting and then your exercise is a lot of cycling or rowing, like the runner's lunge and hamstring stretches, doing those, especially in a dynamic way, making sure that you're moving and not stretching on cold muscles like we always talk about in coaching, but um, doing those every single day, like that's so important because I've been struggling with low back pain for about 6 to 8 months. And it's because I wasn't taking care of myself. And then 30 hit, and I was like, oh, I cannot perform the same way anymore.
Yeah, it's all in the hamstrings. It just hamstrings for everything. I don't know. I feel like we just can't stretch it enough, you know? You know, especially with something like rowing. And I need to make a video about this, but I have a little bit of a little bit of beef with WaterRower, just in the ergonomic design of the feet and the seat. The foot plates sit almost level with the seat, which makes it
Right.
very, very hard to not have your butt stuck underneath you with your back rounding underneath you.
Whereas the
Brands like
concept too is different.
yeah, the concept too, the feet sit a little bit lower, so it's a little bit easier to sit forward more. But again, if your hamstrings are really tight and you're struggling to sit forward due to like the setup of that, like it's all just a mess to hurt your back. And yeah, I hurt my back recently too. You know why I hurt it though? Because I wasn't stretching enough.
Exactly. And we
When
do it too.
everything
We're
is
so
your
guilty.
fault, you can fix it. But like you gotta own up, and I gotta own up because I hurt myself, and it's with more sitting comes more stretching, more hamstrings, more dynamic warm-ups. I'm totally like the idea of the non-static stretches before the workout is something that we gotta pound into people because people are trying to stretch, they want to do the right thing, but they're doing the static stretches beforehand,
Right.
and that's not necessarily the ideal thing. So
I
sounds
think
like you're
we
giving out
should.
good advice, which makes me very happy.
Good. I'm glad. I think a lot of coaches talk about it. I just don't think anyone listens. Maybe we need to submit some feedback to Coach's Corner for a clinic on dynamic stretching.
I think it's a great idea. Yeah. I don't know if they probably don't have one up on the coach's OU site.
Probably not. We've never done one at our studio before.
Yeah.
Never heard of one being done, but
Really good
I
idea.
don't think people truly understand the difference. So doing some education on that would be good. And yeah, just making sure that you're researching and doing your due diligence in recovery is just as important as doing your workout,
So
even if
you
it's 15 minutes.
you just turned 30, you said?
I did. I'm about to turn 31 on the 31st in January.
Whoa! So you said 31st in January?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's cool. My birthday is February 16th, so we're just a few days apart.
Awesome. Are you an Aquarius then? Or are you?
Aquarius.
Oh my gosh, we're soul siblings. I was gonna say soul sisters, but
I'm cool with that. Whatever.
that's
Um,
awesome. So yeah, you're definitely like driven, goal achiever, like wheels turning.
real talk, real talk. I'm just trying to be happy. I'm just trying not to do things I don't like and try to do the things I do like. And I think there comes a very, very deep inner satisfaction that everyone can have by just sharing what you like, what your passions are, and sharing that knowledge with others. And as scary as that is to do that, you and I, like, we can get on camera and talk about things like that, and that's awesome. A lot of people can't get on camera, but you know what your phone has? It's got this really cool thing called memos, where you
Yep.
just tap, you can talk, and you can put up something. There's a lot of ways that people can share their passion, but people don't really want to see your fancy cars. Like, it's providing value to people, I think, is what really has been the most eye-opening thing for me as far as social media goes.
Yeah, yeah, and
I
you've
kind of
really
want to
inspired
there, but
me. I like that. I like that tangent. I know, like have to wrap it up, but that is a big thing that is changed for me this year. Like just by connecting with some of the other Orange Theory, I guess influencers, I would call it. I hate that word, but it is what it is. Because I really had no idea where I was going to go with my social media. Like I would say, I don't know, last year, I was ready to just get rid of it all. And it's so overwhelming. And I've been blogging and doing this stuff since 2009. Like I'm on my like third blog concept. It's been
that's
a
super
journey.
cool. That's amazing. That's so awesome that you were on it back then. You know what I was doing in 2009?
I
Sitting on
don't
my
want to
butt
know.
playing video games. And I did that until about 2012.
Oh my gosh. Everyone has their own journey, right? Like you got to start somewhere. That's why I always say tomorrow is the best day to start the rest of your life. Like
And we
just
got a whole lot of life to live, that's for
that's
sure.
right.
Holy smokes, it's unreal. And like we're both very, very young. We talk about like how important the stretching and dynamic mobility stuff is before, like if you're especially if you're doing a lot of sitting for work. As you get older too, like that's even more important. And we can't even conceptualize that because we're not there. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it's so important. Honestly, most of my like private clients are older and a lot of them play like golf and tennis. So our strength training and a little bit of like agility, mostly stability training for them
That's
is
nice.
so important because you lose that strength and stability as you get older. And it's funny when people get upset, like when you mention age at all, like doesn't matter what age it is. I'm like, okay, I think we need to just like accept where we are in life and realize that like it's okay, you know?
That, and though, kind of on the opposite end is, a lot of you are like, well, oh, I'm old, I'm 36, and I can't do that. Okay, well, if I can pull up on Wikipedia a 30 or a 55-year-old saying they're too old, they can't do something. If I can pull up a 55-year-old who's running a sub 5-minute mile, male or female, if they're doing it, the thing is, it's yes, they're them, but it's possible. Like a lot of times we use age and we just kind of close ourselves out of possibilities.
Right.
When if there's ever been an example of someone who's done it, then you can't rule out the possibility. You can't. The audacity to rule that out is not cool.
Yes.
I can't wait to be 97 and kicking butt.
Yes, absolutely. Like that is always my mission when I talk to people. It's like I want to help you find a workout and a lifestyle that you can change so that you're working out when you're 80 because that's my goal.
Fun fact, my only private clients right now, they're two 80-year-olds.
Oh my gosh.
And we spend about 20 minutes for our session. It's about 20-minute warm up, 20-minute cool down, and then that middle 20 doing stuff. But
That's
as
awesome.
more time warming up and cooling down, because yeah, you don't want to hurt anything, especially when you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
into those later years.
Like my favorite clients at our Midland studio are in their 70s, husband and wife, and like I love them so much because they're so coachable. Like they want to listen to everything that I say to keep them safe. And that just, I mean, I think that speaks volumes to like the maturity you gain and wisdom you gain as you age because they know they want to be kept safe. So they still want to do Orange Theory and they kick butt at it, but they go at a pace they can go at and they respect their range of motion, which is something I tell everybody every day, like respect your range of motion.
I love that quote. I love that.
Well, awesome. I'm so excited we got to talk and
Yes.
I hope we can do some more like collaborations next year. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. I think it really feels nice it's really refreshing to talk with someone who's clearly just super, super passionate about what they do and just like gets giddy and excited talking about heels planted while rowing. And I think we talked about a lot of stuff that I think is going to provide a lot of people with some good info, some good value. So thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Get outside and enjoy that vitamin D and that sunshine.
I will do what I can. You too.
All right. Thanks, Austin. I'll talk to
All
you
right.
soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye.